Hey, John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I've got a question here about mobile app development. This seems to be a pretty popular topic. So I'm going to try and answer this question here. This is kind of an interesting question about, I've advised in the past about creating a portfolio of mobile applications as sort of a good career move, especially if you're trying to get a job even not in mobile development. So Jason sent me this email. He says, thank you so much for answering my previous questions via your YouTube channel. I value your advice greatly. I have a few more questions for you though. As you know, I'm trying to get into mobile application development, so my questions have to do with how a future employer evaluates a portfolio of apps from an individual who doesn't have a lot of on-the-job experience. One, if I build a portfolio of apps that are not very sophisticated and potentially not very good, can I still include those apps in my portfolio to show a potential employer? Two, does an employer value your skills and whether they want to give you a position depending on how sophisticated, elegant, and visually appealing your apps are? And then three, or do employers value a person's desire to learn and effort as opposed to the quality of the apps in their portfolios? Essentially, I'm asking, is it good enough to build basic apps, or do I need to get a level of expertise before even start applying to positions? I just want to present myself in the best light and give myself the best chance of landing a position. Please advise. Okay, Jason, so here's what I would say here. So basically, I'll try to answer kind of all these questions as one answer. But essentially, it doesn't just build apps, put them in your portfolio. Obviously, try to make them look decent, and you can do the design part pretty easily by even just hiring someone on a site like Fiverr.com to do a very basic design for you, or even just copying a design of some app that is well designed. A lot of the even basic controls in iOS and Android, or the design guidelines, can give you a decent design. So I wouldn't worry too much on that aspect of it, but of course, people do look at the surface level of things, so you want to have a nice looking design. That's going to give you some extra points. But with that said, it's not all that important, right? So if I'm an employer hiring someone to do mobile app development, I'm not really going to care how sophisticated their apps are. I mean, obviously, if you have apps that just are, like one simple screen with a button on it, that's not going to be very useful at all. It's not going to tell me very much at all. It's still going to be better than a lot of people that apply for the job, so keep that in mind. But you don't need some very sophisticated apps. You don't need something that's going to be super impressive. If you had a portfolio of a few different apps that did some basic things that show that you have some basic programming skills, that you can do some mobile development, I think that's going to be plenty sufficient. I would not waste a whole bunch of time trying to develop complex applications for the purpose of creating your portfolio. Obviously, as you get better, you might develop more sophisticated applications, but I really wouldn't waste a whole lot of time trying to make sophisticated apps. The key thing, right, the whole reason for doing this portfolio is to really demonstrate that you can actually build an application, that you can put it out in the store, that you can do something end to end, and that you're sort of self-motivated, that you're willing to do this, that they're not going to have a super risk by hiring you. And that's really the key here, right? If I'm hiring someone, and when I've hired people in the past, my biggest problem, the biggest thing I want to do is mitigate their risk that they don't know how to code at all. It seems kind of silly, but there's a lot of software developers that don't know how to program at all, that they can't build an app. Honestly, if you can show me that I'm not going to have to fire you because you can't act, and you're not going to waste my time by not actually knowing how to program, then that's going to go a long way. So if you get a nice portfolio with a few apps in there, they can be very basic apps. Try to make them look nice if you can. That's not going to cost you much time or effort to do that. You're going to get a big bang for your buck, and you can just have them do some basic functionality. You can show that you've put them in the App Store. You're going to go a long way towards getting that job, and you're going to be ahead of 90% of the other people that are applying for positions that don't even have anything to show at all. So don't sweat it. Don't let this hold you back. As soon as you even have one app, start applying for jobs if you're looking for a job, and get feedback. And as you're developing your portfolio, don't let this kind of thing hold you back. Sounds like you're on the right path though, and it's good that you're thinking about these things. So hopefully this is helpful to you. If you find this video helpful to someone else, please share the video and subscribe to my channel. Take care.